Let me introduce JCI. Junior Chamber International is an international NGO that provides opportunities for young active citizens to engage in sustainable development projects to positively impact our local communities. We focus on 4 different development areas: individual, community, business development, and international affairs. Before we begin as well, I would like to welcome Mr. Olajibe Adeyemi, JCI advisor from Nigeria, Mr. Muhammad Hijazi, 2020 JCI Vice President for Africa and the Middle East, Ms. Rania Haddad, 2013 Executive Vice President and JCI Senator, Ms. Daniela Four, 2020 Member of the Advocacy Committee for Africa and the Middle East, Ms. Franchette Emilien, 2020 JCI Mauritius President, Ms. Zandile Makhoba, 2020 JCI South Africa President, Ms. Elitsa Ivanova, 2020 JCI Bulgaria President, Ms. Aline Shirinyan, 2020 JCI Lebanon President, Ms. Dandina Akawi, past JCI Lebanon Secretary General, and Ms. Ranim Al-Ahmar, immediate past President JCI Zahle. We also have the pleasure to welcome international guests from Australia, France, Germany, South Africa, UAE, and USA. Ladies and gentlemen, JCI Beirut is delighted to host Mrs. Caroline Fattal Fakhoury for the second time to discuss with us how we can embrace change in times of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Mrs. Caroline has been repeatedly recognized by Forbes Middle East as one of the most powerful Arab women in business. She currently serves as owner and board member of her family business founded in 1897, which is Fattal Group, leading distributor of premium brands operating in the MENA region. She is also the founder of Stand for Women, a nonprofit organization that actively promotes gender equality and women empowerment. For any questions you have, please type in the chat box. JCI Beirut Vice Presidents Marie-José Rafoul and Marie Khalife will help you. Our session will begin now. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening for some of you. I understand that some of you from Australia are also joining. It's 4 a.m. in the morning. So I really cannot say how humble I am to have such a wonderful audience today. I want first to thank JCI Beirut, the whole team of JCI Lebanon, for hosting me for the second time. Actually, as you just mentioned, Jessica, my journey with JCI started last January 2020. It seems so far now, but actually it's so close. And you had a meeting of all of people from the Middle East, North Africa, and even a bigger region. Nusharin, you can correct me. And at that time, we wondered how can we lead with purpose in a VUCA world. Little did we know what was expecting us and what was due to come. Already in Lebanon, the situation was quite dramatic, and I was so surprised and amazed how many people from all over the world joined us. And now, we are more than ever in a VUCA world. So maybe what we will do is go to the first slide. So we will have some slides that we will share with you after the presentation, so don't worry about taking any notes. The first thing, the structure of today's webinar is first we're gonna discuss together the VUCA world. Then we will move into change and emotions. There will be a small self-reflection activity. And then I don't know if you're familiar with this, but we will move to breakout rooms. We will have a breakout rooms discussion where you will be in small groups of 4 or 5. And then at the end, debrief and action. So maybe this will take around 1 hour for you to monitor the time with us. And please, if you're not comfortable into going into breakout rooms, you can just send a private message to the co-host, and we will deal with that privately. I really invite you to be very interactive during this session. In the first instance, in the first part, probably through the chat box. And then later on, maybe through live questions after the breakout rooms. So it's about really learning from unprecedented times. So I count on your participation. We're going to move to the next slide, which is what is VUCA actually? You know, I think when I mentioned in the last event what was volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity for someone like me, being part actually of a family business, the Fattal Group, that is a fourth generation family business. So our business has more than 120 years. It's located in the MENA region, so Middle East and North Africa. We are present in 8 countries in the region. And actually, since 1897, it has really been a VUCA environment with wars, invasions, civil unrest. I have witnessed myself being the director of the Iraqi operation during the Daesh invasion. I have witnessed, you know, how to manage in such difficult times, what to do with the team, the safety of the warehouses. We also have been through nationalizations of our business in Syria. We have seen destructions and fire. In the Lebanese civil war, our headquarters were destroyed and became the headquarters of all the snipers between East Beirut and West Beirut. And we have seen also our warehouses destroyed by big fires in Syria and Iraq due to the civil unrest there. We have witnessed as well currency devaluations, and this, when I mentioned this, we didn't know how dire and difficult would be the situation in Lebanon as it is today. And also the complexity of operating in such a mosaic of political, fiscal, legal, political, religious regimes in the MENA region. So actually the history of this family business has been really witnessing VUCA. But really, as I mentioned, little did I know when I told our story back in January, that what would come would be something we had never seen. And you know, I think for many of us, 2020 was supposed to be the emblematic year. If you remember, we all had Vision 2020. Not only us, but countries, governments had the Vision 2020. And seeing where we are now in June 2020, this emblematic, iconic year has become one of the most difficult years for us as business people, as human beings, and you know, it's really difficult to comprehend. So I want to give you an idea. It's as if we are simultaneously experiencing the Spanish flu, the Great Depression, the 1968 mass protests that happened after Martin Luther King was killed, or even Mai 68 in France, and all this with a collective uprising all across the world. So can you believe what we are experiencing today? It's the Spanish flu, the Great Depression, 1968 mass protests all at once. And if I have to add on that the specific situation, because I think most of you, I mean, a big number of you here are Lebanese. In Lebanon, the non-official capital control, the devaluations, the civil unrest, the social drama that we are witnessing. And in the region, the Gulf region at large, the oil prices that are collapsing. So actually, definitely we are in a VUCA world. And we could focus today on 3 different kinds of leadership. The leadership of oneself, how will I manage this crisis? The leadership of my team, or the leadership of my organization. As in 1 hour, we cannot really discuss all the 3. I have decided to discuss the leadership of oneself because I know most of you are maybe youth and maybe some of you are entrepreneurs. Not all of you are at the head of corporations. So I thought that it might be interesting to know how to lead oneself during these unprecedented VUCA times. So I'm going to say a little bit what VUCA means, in the sense that volatility. What do we mean by volatility? It's actually overnight, we are forced to adapt, and the speed of change is something that really is shocking us. So the speed of change in the volatility part, you know, our homes became offices. Some businesses that we knew for ages have stopped. The kids are out of school, and the governments are interfering in our lives. So things that used to be normal, coffee, travel, shopping, have become impossible. So volatility is definitely a speed of change we cannot comprehend. Then comes uncertainty. What does uncertainty mean? We cannot actually confidently anymore predict the future. It's impossible for us to know what's coming next. Will we have a second wave? How will school start in September? Will my business survive this crisis? So we have all these questions that come about when, how, what, who, who will decide if we have to be confined again? So all these questions put us in a highly uncertain situation. Then comes complexity. What does complexity mean? There are so many factors, and these factors are all interrelated. It's becoming so complex to comprehend how to take a decision. So what about me? What about my company? What about my country? All of this is intertwined and really making it very complex to take decisions. And then comes ambiguity. Ambiguity is a lack of clarity on how to interpret things. How the information we're having is incomplete, Is this virus really something that is coming from an animal? Is it man-made? How are we dealing with situations that are sometimes information that's inaccurate? We feel we're having part of the truth. Are we really knowing exactly what's happening, or some things are hidden to us? So all this fuzziness and vagueness make us in a completely ambiguous situation. And it's very difficult for us to adapt to. So what I would like to now ask you, and I would like to see some of your comments in the chat box, and I really welcome them, is the next slide. What kind of changes, small or big, have you experienced lately in this VUCA world? So you can also open up your mics if you prefer, but the ones who are more comfortable in writing them, I would really welcome to hear what's going on for you. So have you been witnessing volatility? Are you really having difficulties with ambiguity? What complex decisions have you had to take? How are you dealing with this? Yes, working from home. Yes, I think exactly, not spending much money except on essential things. Yes, the purchasing power has definitely decreased dramatically in Lebanon. Yes, online shifts, yes. So absolutely, companies are saying that what they had planned in their 5-year plan in terms of digitalization has been suddenly completely put forward. Working from home for longer hours. Marie, I think we have a lot of things. Maybe if you help me read them all at once.
There's a lot of people discussing the question of uncertainty of the future in terms of career, in terms of work and uni, accepting the new normal and that things won't go back to what was normal at some point. How also some people have been more motivated and have had like an increase of productivity.
Yes, there is Sahar, I think, who is raising hands. Maybe Sahar, you want to speak out? I saw anger here. Yeah, a lot of reflections.
Absolutely. We also have a message from Anwar saying that we need to be humbled with our planning. The whole world had plans, but all stopped.
Yes. Not knowing what the future might hold. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Keeping a certain routine.
Yes. So maybe what I will take you through now, yes, reevaluating our wants and needs. Thank you. Absolutely. I mean, this is so interesting, and I think now in the breakout rooms, incompetence of governments as well. Yeah, a lot of countries and a lot of citizens have lost trust in their political leaders. Difficulty on getting paid. Yes. Absolutely, companies are struggling, and people have difficulties getting their salaries. Salaries have been shrunk. So, great. So some of you have been creative and have launched some initiative. Yes, the currency devaluation in Lebanon. Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed by your participation, and maybe you can take this when you will go in the breakout rooms together. So maybe what we can go is to the next slide, and I think it's summarized somewhere. A lot of your comments. We are feeling so many losses actually at once. The loss of physical connection, the loss of a routine. For some of us, the loss of work or the loss of a full salary. Also the loss of physical touch. For so many weeks, we couldn't touch the people we love, the ones who are not living with us, some parents, some grandparents. The loss of gathering for meals, things as simple as that. The loss of going to places of worship. I mean, Easter and Ramadan passed, and mosques and churches were closed. And this was also a very difficult time for all of us. So this sense of loss of normalcy, the fear of the economical toll, and the loss of connection have been put in some word that is a little bit tough, but David Kessler, who is a writer, has said that the discomfort we are feeling today actually is grief. So David Kessler, and you will have the references at the end of the presentation, wrote many books about change and grief, and together with another very prominent lady on this topic that's called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And he said in an article in the Harvard Business Review of March that we are actually experiencing a collective loss and a collective grief. And I think with the recent events in the United States, with the horrible death of George Floyd, it has increased also this sense of collective loss and grief. And what's also happening is, some of you mentioned, we don't know what the future holds. This anticipatory grief, we know it's not going to be the same, but we don't know how it will look like. So what I'm going to take you through is understanding the stages of grief. And there is a high correlation between the stages of grief and the stages of change. So we're going to go through them together, and then you'll be able to check in your groups, how have you been living this? So what's important is that you realize initially there were 5 stages of grief according to the model. And very recently, David Kessler added the 6th one, which is the meaning one. And I will take you through them step by step. But what I want you to realize is that I want you to recognize later on these stages in you, but also in others. Who in your family has gone through those stages? Who in your teams, who in your companies, who in your environment has gone through this? So what has happened to me and what has happened to others? So what I want to say first is that these are descriptive stages. They are a general pattern, but we cannot reduce change or grief to this only, okay? They are not linear. So it's not that I go step by step through these things and then I'm done. Sometimes, you go through denial and then to anger, and then you come back to denial, and then, you go to acceptance and go to sadness. So it's not a step-by-step thing. It's something that is not linear. It's not a mathematic for grief or for change, but it's just to raise your awareness. And this isn't easy. So denial, for example, this virus will not affect us. This can't be happening. I mean, I cannot accept and comprehend what's going on. Anger, why is this happening to us? Why do we have to go through this? I mean, this is supposed to remain in China, and then it's all over the world. You're making me stay at home and taking me away from my activities. I'm really angry. I think one of you mentioned that anger in the chat room. Bargaining, okay, I will stop, I will social distance for 2 weeks, and then everything is gonna be okay. Why do I have to wait for 3 months? I'll do anything for this to change, but then it has to change. Some of us went into sadness. I don't know where this will end, and what am I really witnessing? What's the point of going on after this? The next or another stage would be acceptance. It's going to be okay. This is happening, and I have to figure out how to proceed. And finally, the 6th stage, the one that has been put lately by David, is finding meaning. I have a new purpose. I want to help others, and I want people to be safe. So in meaning, you can find hope and purpose. And the meaning is not actually in the drama that we are all living in this book, I think. The meaning, it's in us. It's what we do for this to have changed my life, to bring a change to all of us. So what we do after this. So maybe are there any questions? Is this clear to you? Because what I'm going to take you now is through the next stage, which is a small activity of self-reflection. Yes, a small activity of self-reflection. If you want to just think in your mind or take a paper and a pen and think a little bit how each of these stages have affected you. And I will give you 1 or 2 minutes for that. And then we will go to the breakout rooms where you will be in a group of 4 or 5 people. And I will give you, just before you move out to the breakout, some questions that you can discuss together around the same topic of VUCA and how you have seen all those changes. I see some, I hear some, yeah. Yes, of course, it's possible that you didn't go through every stage for sure. Yes, for sure. You might have gone through one, none, all, some of them. So it's definitely not a linear process, and you don't have to go in all of them. So during this time, please, if you can think about how each of these stages of change and grief have affected you.
Affected. يعني affected. Describe how each of these stages has affected you. طيب.
So what is the impact actually? It means what is the impact of each of these stages? Did you feel them? Did you not feel them? Did you feel some of them? How did you, during these very difficult 3 months, did you go through any of them? So maybe now, Marie, we will move to the next slide, which is the questions that you will be, if you want to take a screenshot of them or jot them down, it's some of the questions that you will be discussing in your small groups. We will give you 20 minutes. Don't worry, there will be an automatic thing that will take you to breakout rooms, as if you're going into a workshop in a hotel in a separate room. I think Jessica is our magician, and she's going to be putting you by groups of 4 to 6, and you will be given 20 minutes to discuss all that in your small groups, and then automatically in 20 minutes you will also come back to the main room. And what we ask from you is that one of you in the group, when you come back, will be giving us some feedback about what you have discussed. So decide between you who will be the one, or who will be the one to come back with some ideas around that. And I will be, if technology helps us, I will be popping in and out in some of the groups to listen, help, be with you. So the questions that we want you to discuss is, what VUCA experiences are you going through? So you have been very vocal in the chat box, and we want you to share that in a smaller group. Which of the stages of grief or change have you experienced? So have you been in denial? Have you been in anger? Have you been in sadness, acceptance, or are you now more in the meaning phase, trying to help others? How did you react to all this that has happened to you in the last 3 months? And what do you think we can learn from this experience? So are things more or less clear?
I think they're clear for everyone. In case in each room there will be someone from JCI that you can chat with, and we will be there. The breaking rooms will start in a few seconds. Caroline, in case you are assigned to a breaking room, you can leave it and go back to the main room with Jess.
Yes, no problem.
Also, to everyone who requested not to be assigned to breaking rooms, you will stay in the main room. And in case you are not assigned to a breaking room, just let Jessica and Haber know.
Thank you. Looking forward for having fruitful discussions in small groups. And we'll see you back in 20 minutes in our main room.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can you unmute your mics, please?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's good to have you today,
I'm
too.
fine. Yeah, I'm so happy to
Hello.
be here.
We're very happy to have you. I think there might be a few more people joining. Let me see.
Yes, I think we are 4 in the group. No, someone left the group, I think.
Yeah, Rita had left.
Sorry, are you able to hear me clearly?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfectly. We can see you. We can hear you.
Great.
So maybe let's have a small round of introduction. Let's get to know each other so we have some sort of background.
So I start. I'm Rachel. I'm from South Africa. So I'm joining you from South Africa today. At the moment, I'm an independent change specialist. So I've left a lovely job at a bank quite recently. And so for me, this is a huge period of transition because a lot was, of course, unexpected. So, you know, finding my feet still as an independent person, but getting there nonetheless. So for me, you know, coming to this evening is really about building, and I'm glad that what is her name, Caroline, spoke about leadership of self, because that's an important step for me right now, personally.
It's definitely a challenging time, and if you're already in a period of personal change, it's a big one.
Yeah.
Franchette, can we get to know you a bit better?
Yes, my name is Franchette, and I'm the national president of JCI Mauritius. Actually, I work in an IT company which is specialized in e-government solutions. So I would say that the change for me is just like everyone, I'm mainly working from home. So lockdown was just lifted on Sunday. But we are not everyone, it's not like everyone can be working together, so there's a rotation, but I'm mainly working from home. I've been to office only yesterday, so that's it.
Okay, that's super interesting. We'll delve into it in a bit. We had 2 people join us. We have Sahar and Ranim. If you can hear us, if you can unmute yourselves and
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
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 I cannot see you.
If you can't turn your camera on, it's fine, but just give us a small brief about yourself. We took a round of introduction.
Hello, I'm Ranim.
Hello, nice to meet
Hello.
I'm from Lebanon. I'm founder of JCI Zahle local chapter. Sorry, I'm having some renovation at my house, so I look
It's fine.
clumsy.
It's completely fine. Okay, and we'll have Sahar if you're here with us.
Okay, hi. Sorry, I was a bit busy because I was actually on a duty with Caritas, and I just got back home. My name is Sahar, and I'm 18, and yes, that's it.
It's great to have you. A small brief, I'm Marie. I been part of JCI for a year and a half now. I'm VP for community for JCI Beirut. And in terms of my professional life, I work in architecture and urban design, which is a challenging field to work in, especially right now. So yeah, let's go through the questions. I'm going to screen share so we have like a reference of what we're going to discuss. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so to just maybe bring you a small like briefly again. So VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What word do you seems more striking to you out of the four? Is it a combination of all of it? How has your quarantine life been?
I would definitely say a combination of all four. But the ones that stand out more for me is uncertainty and ambiguity, because you just don't know. So at the moment in South Africa, we are in lockdown still, but the level has changed. So we have more freedom or less restrictions. But still in general for the whole world, until we find a cure for this thing or a vaccination, we don't know. We just don't know how far this could go. So that does worry me. That does keep me up at night. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. The one that strikes me most, I think, is uncertain, because it's so difficult to know what's coming next. What am I projecting for the future? Like even if for JCI projects or for my personal life and everything. And maybe we can run through the stages of grief that she had discussed. I think they're super interesting and a different way of seeing what we're currently going through.
So I mean, I'll just open up. I feel that already I had started a bit of a transition before COVID. So already I'd gone through my own stages of denial, anger, bargaining, sadness, but now with everything, I find that I sort of went through them again. But I'm sitting more, and I came very quickly to acceptance and meaning, because it is what it is. I've had to come to terms with so much lately that this is just another thing that I've just been forced to accept. And then I quite like the meaning one, because for me, what it means is having a bit of a plan. And so I find that every day I'm sort of strategizing my life. So I think, I'm sort of doing the round between acceptance and meaning on a daily basis.
I like the link that you made between meaning and a plan, because it gives you purpose. It gives you a sense of like, oh, this is what I could bring. This is what I can bring to myself, to others. And it feels reassuring in a sense. Like from the stuff that we can't control, at least the tiny little things that we have control over, that's good. What about you guys?
For me, at first, it was like a kind of a break that I wanted very much, but it happened like in like the reason was bad, but I needed this break. So at first, I was happy to enjoy this time at home and staying, like taking a break, thinking, going inside. But then, especially with the economic crisis Lebanon is going through, and uncertainty at work, and everyone is stressed around, we're worried about the elderly. It has been like too much to handle, and for me, I was like, I used to live alone, so I felt like I need someone to be with me, and I'm getting married in a month.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So it was like kind of a good thing. So because we ditched the traditions and everything, and we're just doing it smoothly and like that. So that's it.
A big step to take in such
Yeah.
such weird conditions, but I feel like it means a lot and it shows a lot about your marriage. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, I'm glad that I had the chance now to share like these feelings with someone like people that I don't know. So thank you guys.
It's a pleasure. We're
Thank you
very,
for
very happy.
sharing.
Yeah. What about you, Franchette? How has it been?
Actually, it's been hard. Let's say at the beginning it was okay because, I forgot your name. The lady that was talking. Yes. Actually, I think I needed that break because in January, after being to Lebanon in January, then coming back, so been to work, no rest. So I think I needed that break. So the first week was okay, but then still I live alone. And my family doesn't live in Mauritius, so I'm from a small island called Rodrigues. So the border between Mauritius and Rodrigues is closed, so I cannot go to visit the family. So I'm on my own, which means that like after 2 weeks, it has become very, very, very hard because we were locked down for 2.5 months. I was not seeing anybody. So I can say that this situation has been very, very hectic for me, but fortunately I managed, and I've been working from home. I've been attending lots of online forums, trainings, and I've been meeting JCI friends. And actually, for 2.5 months, I was having internet issues, so it was also very hard to connect to people. And just last week, when they started easing things, I just changed service provider so that now I have a more stable internet, and it allows me to connect with people because border is still closed between Mauritius and Rodrigues. But at least I can have video calls with the family. And now I can go to office once, just like yesterday I went to office. But I think I have also reached the stage of meaning because I've gone through all the other stage: denial, anger, bargaining, sadness. Even though the sadness is still there because I feel I need someone. But I have also reached the meaning stage where I think that I have a new sense of purpose. That's it for me.
That's great. I love the ending. Sahar, how has it been for you? What were your experiences?
Actually, at first, it was kind of a relief that we were in quarantine because I needed some time alone to relieve the stress with all the exams, and I was applying to tons of universities, and I had to study hard, and I don't know, so it was kind of stressful. So when the whole thing came, I was just kind of, okay, that's great. I needed some time to, I don't know, to fix things, but. And I needed to, actually, it was a good time for me to work on myself. I attended a lot of online courses and forums and sessions, and of course that helped me to develop myself and achieve self-growth. But it was quite hard, to adapt to the situation because with everything going on in the country and the crisis, and so things haven't been great. So for everyone, and I think that everyone can sense that, especially if you're close to the elderly, so you have to be careful all the time, and you have to deal with a different kind of stress. But I think that I'm actually adapting and accepting. So I've just created a new routine. So I can be productive, not just sit all day and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's it.
I think in a sense we kind of also had similar kind of patterns, because everyone, if I remember well, everyone ended up by talking about the notion of accepting and finding some meaning in this, in the end, like reaching the fact that like, okay, it is what it is, and now from now on, like this is what I can do with like what is here. And so yeah, the last 2 points of the stages of grief, I think, are very current to what's going on right now. We have about 5 minutes left. The last question that we can be tackling would be what can be learned from this experience. I think how can we adapt this to what normal life could be in the future, whatever that is, whatever the new normal would be.
Me, what I would like to say, what I have learned from this experience is actually how do I, to to redefine what is essential for me, to redefine what is important. Because let's say some time back, I have, even though my family, my parents, brothers and sisters live in Rodrigues, I actually have some aunts that live in Mauritius. And you see, very often they would like have some parties and invite me, and I would be, no, I'm sorry, I can't. Tomorrow I have a JCI event. I need to be fit for it. I'm launching a project, JCI project. I cannot be with you. But when the lockdown started, I realized that I was missing my people. So and sometimes, sometimes you would I would maybe give importance to other stuff. But now I think that I have learned to go back to basics, because when we entered lockdown, supermarkets were closed, shops were closed. I didn't have time to shop and keep some stuffs home before they closed down all the supermarkets and shops. So I had to manage for 2 weeks with the little things that I had at home. And I managed, I did not starve. So I could see that with little things, I could survive. So I think this is a lesson that I have learned, to be able to live with the little that I have, and also to give more importance to family.
I feel like even in terms of consumption, we've really redefined how we're consuming. We're definitely not going to be the same consumers in the future, which in terms of environmental impact, I'm very happy about.
Yeah,
Yes.
you learn to appreciate the small things and your health as well. So every single day, if you are well and you're not sick, and you can walk, you can talk, you've got something to eat, those are all things to be grateful for. And it's taught me to just remember that I have my health. So things might not be right with everything else, but I have my health. So I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful feeling that like in the rush of day-to-day life, usually because we're so like work, uni, I need to do this, I need to buy that, I need to get this, the hat, and we forget that we're humans, that we have feelings, and that we need to be in check with ourselves, and to that like in the end what matters is family, friends, and being healthy.
Yeah.
And I also think that we should reconsider like the job time. Like this 5 days per week and 5 p.m. is not working. I think we can do lots of work at home. So that's too. In addition to what we all said, and consuming is really, I was like, I didn't know that, but I noticed that I was a over consumer, and I used to spend a lot of money for like things that I don't really need. So now, no, I'm reconsidering all this, and I'm I also tried to do a lot of do-it-yourself things in this quarantine, so it was great for me.
That's super great. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you. We have 45 seconds left. So just to have the few closing words so that like we're all in check. Would someone be down to give the summary once we go back, or do you prefer that I do it? But I'd be very, very happy if someone was interested in doing it. to talk about what we talked about now. Rochette, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I think you took the notes, so maybe for this time we can if there's another opportunity, then we can see the other opportunity.
Alrighty, let's go. See you in a second.
Okay.
Great. Bye.
Bye. It's gonna close off naturally. Is it? Did it? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we have 50. Okay.
We have
Okay.
50 seconds.
Okay. I'll handle the summary, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll see you.
I think it's better.
It's really nice to see all of us on the screen. So let's forget about slides, and then we'll put back when we have the conclusion, because it's really nice to see all your beautiful faces from all over the world. Yeah. Wow, that's really cool.
Would this be a good time to take a screenshot?
Yes.
Yes.
Maya!
If we can see as many faces as possible as you're joining in, just to take a screenshot, to take a picture all together.
So who is it? It's Marie, the photographer.
I'll take the screenshot. I'm on my laptop. Okay, everybody smile.
Wait, let everyone join in, because there's still groups that are coming.
You have to take it in like 2 screens anyway.
No, I set the gallery. I can take it. No, I set it to have everyone on one screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Okay.
Is this possible? You amaze me.
So in case you haven't
that's when I see that I grew old. When I see young people so comfortable with technology.
In case you just joined back in, we're just going to take a screenshot now to see all your faces, your beautiful faces, and then we'll continue.
Everyone, please turn your cameras on.
Yes.
Cool.
You're all beautiful.
Yes. So actually, well, now it's time. First, did you enjoy? Or you can answer one by one, remove or chat. How did you enjoy or not enjoy this breakout rooms? Was it the first time for some of you, or did you already do it before? Ralph, you want to speak?
Yeah, we already did it before.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I already did it before. Yes, we enjoyed it, and we would love to have had more time.
Yeah, someone is saying this in the chat box. It's never enough, actually, because when you share experiences and you see similarities and differences, it's really normalizes situations. Thanks, Ralph. Anyone else wants to add something?
We have a lot of comments in the chat saying that like 20 minutes were really not enough, but that it was very efficient to share your experience, and that it was a good therapy session. Like, it was great to get it off your chest, and especially with new people and strangers. And it's always nice to hear other people's opinion on the matter.
So thanks to the magic of technology, I was able to enter into 2 breakout rooms, but I didn't have enough time as well to go into others. And what I realized is that some of you were saying that there is so many similarities, despite that one was in Australia, the other one was in Nigeria, some were in Lebanon, that actually the stages that we're going through are so similar. Did some other groups witness the same?
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone had raised his hand, Anwar, if I'm not wrong.
I just wanted to say, I mean, you've pretty much already covered it, but we were in a group where someone was in France, people in Lebanon, and we were just discussing how it's the same frustrations all over the world, just when it got cut, actually. And also,
We frustrated you more than I'm sorry.
Yes, no, I'm joking. No, but also that someone also mentioned that it is like a group therapy almost. It's good to hear other people's perspective on this. It feels like you can relate to them. Sometimes they give you a new perspective. Sometimes you feel like we have exactly the same thing. So yeah, it definitely helps.
Thank you, Anwar.
Should we?
Anyone else would like to share? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I was actually impressed because it was kind of a positive vibes for all of us. Like despite how tough it was during this situation, people were able to manage and adapt to the situation, although it was kind of stressful, especially for people living alone. But yeah, like some of us build new talents, new habits, get to know new people. And yeah, I guess that was it for me.
Thank you, Firas. Thanks.
Okay.
Great. So I'm cautious about time, and I know it's nearly dinner time for some of you. I don't know about the others in different locations, but I want to take you through a small, another model about leading yourself in VUCA times. It's actually a wrap-up of what you might have heard in your breakout rooms. And actually, it's the 3R model, okay? It's how will you respond to things or to this VUCA situation? How will you recover, and how can you reimagine yourself? These questions, you can ask them to yourself, but you can also ask them if you are in an organization. How will my organization respond? How will it recover? And how will we reimagine our company? But as the focus of today was around oneself, I'm going to keep the focus on that. So respond. How will you respond? And I think in the groups you've already discussed how you have responded to this crisis. But the first thing we did today was naming the emotion or naming the stage. What I heard in some groups is that, yes, I knew I was sad and I knew I was angry, but putting it in a model and seeing it, naming the emotion, the stage in which I am and which are others that I can see in my family, in my team, in my university, whatever, is very important. And this is how you will respond, is naming the emotion. The other thing is that I heard is normalizing. Realizing that, you know, from Australia to Nigeria to, I think, the US to Mauritius, I am not alone. We have all gone through this. And actually, it's something that as human beings, we are living all together. Okay, the other thing is focus on what you can control. You know, the area of control. What you can't control, don't focus your energy, your time, your brain on it, because it's not within your reach. What the government will decide, if the pandemic will continue, this, you know, it can roam around in your head, but you have no answer to that. So just focus on what you can control. We are still here in the response phase. How will I respond? Be compassionate. I heard a lot of you say that, you know, I've been helping NGOs, I've been supporting, for example, JCI. So be compassionate, help each other. And we heard a lot of people who had their neighbors. So compassion and being here for others is important at this response time. Come into the present. Also being present, being in the now is being grounded. Trying to foresee a future that is so uncertain is very difficult, but living the day. And here, if you're interested and you have 2 minutes, I'm going to give you a tip that I got from an important coach in the US, Dr. Gervais. And I'm going to ask you for 1 minute every morning. This minute will really help you come into the present. He says that in the morning, of course, for those of you who do meditation or mindfulness, it's about taking 1 minute every morning to breathe in and out. First thing you do, breathe in, breathe out. Then say what you're grateful about for today, what energy you want to bring for the day, and then ground your feet on the floor and feel how much you're grounded. This is the idea of how to come into the present, and it really takes you 1 minute every morning. But I trust me, since I heard this man say this, first I said it's so simple. Is he really joking that this 1 minute will make a change in my life? But I tried it, and it really makes a lot of sense. So it's, again, in the response phase, come into the present. Don't try to project too far, because really there's a lot of uncertainty. And one other thing he said, Dr. Gervais, is realize you cannot play a permanent game in an impermanent world. So some of the answers we had in the past, who were, you know, specific answers to specific situations, might not work today. So also accept that, normalize it, that the answers I had in a permanent game cannot serve such a VUCA world. So this is part of some of the help for the respond phase. And now in the recover phase, how will you bounce? It's not bounce back, actually. I'm saying, how will you bounce forward? It's about bouncing forward, okay? How have you developed, or will you develop, your coping ability? how adaptable, flexible, agile you are. And I think you being a wonderful group of youth, you're the ones that more than maybe people around my age who are in the middle of their lives, you are the ones who are really adaptable, flexible, and agile. And this is in this recovery phase, you're going to bounce forward. The third part is how will you reimagine either your work, your studies? Because it's true, things have changed so much completely. And I think it's one of the things I had mentioned back in January. We are in constant reinvention. And how will you reimagine this phase? And what I want to tell you is that no act is too small. You know, when I decided to create my NGO, Stand for Women, some people told me, you are not going to change the world with this. I said, no, I'm not going to change the world with Stand for Women, but I can change the world one woman at a time. And today I'm trying to impact the lives of 40 people on this call, of course, in all humility, but just by being there for others. You know, no act is too small. Think of that. And maybe find your leadership secret in these tough times. You know, watch yourself and think, you know, who am I as a leader in tough times, and who am I as a leader full dot? You know, what is your small leadership secret that you have discovered and that will help you reimagine yourself? And again, I think it's also in the meaning phase. It's the time when you reimagine yourself to give back. I know you're very young, and sometimes you're at the beginning of you know, a career, and you're not thinking about giving back, or on the contrary, because you're at JCI and you are part of this wonderful community, you are really people who are giving back to that community. How can you do this more? Especially in the difficult situation the world is in, and our country in Lebanon in particular. So I see that there are, Marie, maybe you can read, there are a lot of comments in the chat box. So
yes,
yeah.
Let me go. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a message from Mireille saying that it helps to know that we're all in the same mess. Also, the breakout room was excited and afraid on how the new world would be, and our lifestyle and how we will adapt to it. This is our new normal.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. So now you know, when we do this kind of work, because also I'm an executive coach, we always encourage people to forward the action. So we have heard all this for nearly an hour now, and it takes us to our next slide, which is how will you forward the action? And what is one single thing, and I think we spoke that in one of the breakout rooms, a baby step. I'm not asking a giant step, but I'm asking from you a baby step. What is one single thing you will do differently after today's session? It's actually taking all the learning and forwarding the action. So some of you, of course, can jot it down on a piece of paper and keep it for yourselves, but the ones who really want to share that with us, we would welcome to hear that. And what I want to say is that in the darkest moments, it's there that we find the light. And so hearing from some of the things you want to do differently would be great. Yes. So Marie, maybe you want to help me read.
Yes, we have Anwar saying us that he is hoping that the world will actually learn from this and won't go back to the old bad consumerism and non-sustainable habits. There's Rachel saying how we need to show more compassion. And it's something that came back a lot in our room. We talked a lot about our personal health and our love for each other and our families, and which is what matters most at this point. A lot of people agreeing with Anwar about not going back to old consumerism habits.
Yeah.
And to figure out what really is important in life, continue to support our neighbors and communities even after this is over.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe being present for others, not only in times of crisis, but in times where things are better. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of messages coming in. I'm really
focus
happy.
On the small things, gratitude. Yeah, this is wonderful. Absolutely. Yeah. And if you do that every morning, and I know some people do it at night, they have a book of gratitude, but it's really very helpful.
Yeah. A lot of people are talking about the essentials and stop taking things for granted. We see how easily things can change and things can disappear. Learning to be open to new experiences and adapting. And Yes,
Wow, thank you for all your comments.
There's a lot of stuff coming in. We learned humility. We cannot control everything in life, adapting to the new normal. I guess it's time to reflect more about sustainability.
Yeah, as well.
Reinvent.
Yeah, so there is a debate here I see between consumerism and stopping consumerism. Yes, it's true that if we don't consume, the economy will continue to slow down. But how can we consume differently? Actually, how can we consume with much more purpose? For example, the fashion industry, is the industry that creates the most waste. So maybe, can we approach this in a different manner? And I think even this industry is rethinking. It has put the fashion industry, the crisis, into a big dilemma. I mean, will they continue to have these huge fashion shows that maybe, somehow are not so useful? Or how can they have all these clothes that, after collection are dropped? So yes, consumerism also will definitely continue, but maybe with a new norm, with a new, accepting different emotions, yes.
Yeah, accepting different emotions. This is a big lesson on communication, professionally or personally. There's a lot of people who talked about consuming sustainably and responsibly.
Yeah,
I think we can put the word over consumerism, that's the one we should be talking about.
Yes.
Reevaluating priorities and what matters, our medical systems, weapons. Yeah.
Thank you. So what I want to say to end the words of the end actually is first of thank you for staying with us for this hour. Thank you for your active participation, for all your energy. And I want to end with a quote that I heard this morning from Barack Obama. I think that he said yesterday, so much of the progress that we've made in our society has been thanks to young people. And I am so energized, delighted to have seen this wonderful crowd of young people. And I think you have the talent, you have the voice, and you make me feel optimistic that the world can change, and that even in this VUCA reality, things we have a hope. And I have enjoyed so much talking to you about change, about VUCA. And I think also on the top of your agenda must be things around justice, injustice, around privilege, about our humanity. And I'm sure that these topics will be, in one of your next rounds. But I know that through this wonderful youth, there is a hope for the future for the ones who are in Lebanon and for the larger community in the world, really. So thank you for your participation and for staying around all together.
Thank you so much, Ms. Caroline.
Thank you.
It was a very fruitful and formative session. And a massive thank you for all of you for joining. We hope you had a good time. I just want to say that next Thursday we have a workshop that we will tackle social responsibility during crisis with Ms. Rania Haddad. And you can check the link in the chat box, and you can see our upcoming sessions on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Also, feel free to answer the feedback form that we sent on the group. It would be great for us to know how to improve future workshops and what your opinion was of today. A massive thanks to everybody.
Goodbye.
Ciao, ciao. Take care.
Thank you for coming.